Hello once again, YouTube. It's Ben Barrett here, joined by...
Rich Scott Jones.
Rich is also here, and as usual when the both of us are sat down, we're not going to be talking about League of Legends, we're going to be talking about Mass Effect Andromeda, and this time we're going to go through all the characters that we know about at the moment, what we think about them, how they might operate in game, a little bit of romance in there as well, because you know what we're like, and hey, it is Valentine's Day when we're recording this, and we're going to kick it off with Cora Harper.
Righto, yes. So Cora is, she's going to be second in command of the human Pathfinder team. So in a way, she's kind of your boss as one of the Ryder twins. So it's a little bit weird that you as Ryder become the Pathfinder instead of her when something happens to Alec Ryder. So that's something that we will probably see dealt with fairly early on in the game, I would imagine. She's one of your two starting squad mates. She's a human biotic. According to her profile on the website, she uses a shotgun and has a biotic charge attack. So that sounds a little bit Vanguard-like in combat.
So she's kind of one of that pair of... Now, see, everyone says they're boring, but actually, according to me, at least Jacob I like. So she's kind of part of that starting two human... Yeah. One of them's a biotic. Traditionally, one of them is also like a tech, and we'll get onto that in a second. But she's part of that pair.
She is part of that pair. That does seem to be the convention that BioWare have established, and it looks like it's continuing in Andromeda, so she's one of the two. Interestingly, she has the same surname as the Elusive Man, the founder of Cerberus.
Oh boy, right.
Yes, it was revealed in the Mass Effect Evolution comic that the Elusive Man's real name, or at the very least an alias that he once went under, was Jack Harper, and we know that Cora's surname will be Harper.
So while we're on this, when was that comic released? Is this like recent lore, or are we talking about kind of ancient history that they might have kind of rewritten like they did with a lot of the plot of the first couple of Mass Effect games?
It was released in September 2011, which is just ahead of the launch of Mass Effect 3, which I think came out in spring 2012. So
okay, so this could kind of still be something that is relevant these days, but also, you know, maybe it is just a coincidence. We won't really know until the game comes out or somebody asks the developers about it. What else do we know about Cora? Anything of note?
The only other thing of note that we know for sure is that she's a romance option for a male rider. That was pretty obvious.
That was made clear.
Yeah. Yes, in the New Earth trailer. So that's all. That about wraps up Cora.
Sure, so she's kind of shotgun wielder, definitely got some biotic powers,
yep.
Probably fits into the Vanguard stereotype profile, I suppose they're now called.
Yeah.
And one of the romance options for male rider, maybe for female rider as well. We'll find that out again as we get closer.
That's right. So we can move on to your second starting squad mate, which is a guy called Liam Koster.
Also a human, also traditionally boring. But again, yes. Jacob was great. So, what's up with Liam?
You may or may not be in the minority on that. I wouldn't like to say. But yes, Liam is he's said to be idealistic and enthusiastic. So expect him to, be, not quite the comic relief perhaps, but to try and cheer you up, to encourage you.
He seems a little more upbeat in again that New Earth trailer, which is where we've seen the most of at least these couple of early characters.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that there's like an opportunity for a BioWare writer to sort of shatter those illusions halfway through the game. Maybe
they do like doing that.
The realities of life on the frontier is going to challenge Liam's enthusiasm. So maybe his loyalty mission, you'll have to cheer him up and convince him he's not being an idiot for being upbeat, something like that.
I can imagine a situation there where, depending on what kind of character you're playing, again, this time around we don't have like the Paragon Renegade pure split, but depending on whether you're an arsehole or not, you might either kind of drag him down or build him up depending on what you do and what other characters do, right?
Yeah. Something like you're right, actually, we are screwed. Anyway, his profile on the website says that he likes the dual wield Omni Blades, which is pretty cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Raises my hopes that we'll be able to do that as a rider as well, although that's not confirmed. Mm-hmm. The profile says he'll have a power called Havoc Strike. Now, the Turian Havoc Soldier had that same power in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer mode. Right. So I don't know, maybe that hints a little bit at his class. But he also studied engineering at university, so we'd think a tech class is also possible. And again, as we mentioned, your starting two characters do tend to be humans. They do tend to be both biotics and techs. So maybe he's going to be an engineer to balance out Cora's biotics or something like that. Yeah,
certainly in Mass Effect 2 that was the case. In Mass Effect 1, you had Kaidan as a biotic, and then Ashley was just a pure soldier. But
that's right.
I think they worked out that the balance was more interesting if you had a little bit of access to both. Particularly because it means that kind of whatever they throw at you or whatever you decide to do early on, you can deal with it because you have both overload and pull or whatever,
And he's also from London, which is nice.
That's good. That's nearby.
Well, vaguely.
So, moving away from the humans and into the beautiful world of aliens, we have PB, who is an Asari. What else do we know?
That's right, PB is an Asari. She's BioWare have said that they want to upend your expectations of alien species. So I think most players have an image of the Asari formed by people like Liara and Samara, who are quite sort of po-faced, quite solemn. Whereas PB is going to be the opposite. She's going to be bubbly, she's going to be very independent. She arrived in Andromeda on the Nexus, but she immediately went off looking for alien artifacts right away. I think she's described as pathologically independent, actually. So
okay, I can imagine that kind of maybe turning into a conflict within the team when you want to do one thing and she's like, no, I don't want to do that, even if it is better for the squad as a whole. And it's interesting that they've said that about like breaking expectations, because Liara in the first game, for example, was actually. She wasn't massively upbeat and happy all the time, but she was more like fun-loving. And then when Mass Effect 2 rolled around, because basically everyone you met was sad in that game, she was also kind of part of that. So it'll be interesting to see if they maintain that through the whole game, or any sequels, or if they decide to put her on a similar arc to Liara. So what's she like when she's in play, as it were?
According to her profile on the Mass Effect website, she uses pistols in combat, which is like the adept class in previous games generally used to. As you were encouraged, I think, in Mass Effect 3 to use pistols when you were playing Adept to reduce your cooldowns. And it's one of the Adept's class specialties in Mass Effect 1. She's also described as a biotics destabilizer, which sort of suggests that maybe she's all about debuffing or disrupting the enemy.
Yeah, so maybe not like kind of pure damage like Warp or what was the other one? Shockwave was the other kind of big damage one in Mass Effect 2, but stuff like pull and push and singularity, which would slow people down and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's interesting to sort of speculate about this because her favourite power is apparently called Invasion, and as far as I'm aware, we've not had that.
So that's not shown up in any of the multiplayers like we were talking about with the Turian soldier before. So that is an example of something brand new, which is good to see.
Yeah, it's interesting. And BioWare have also confirmed that she's a romance option in a tweet. Or this first came out from an interview with her voice actress, who said that this is the first time that she's going to sort of, again, feeding into that trait of hers of being pathologically independent. This is the first time that she's going to sort of start to let her barriers down, get to know the team, let people in, trust people, and then fall in love. So maybe that suggests that your romance with her is going to be a bit of a slow burn rather than something sort of flighty.
Being an Asari, I think they've all been bisexual in the past. Have I got that right?
Well, they're a single gender.
Yeah, because of that, they've always been bisexual. So making her prefer one gender or the other would be quite interesting. But again, given what we've seen in the past, it would probably be quite likely.
Yeah.
So moving on again, we actually have our first ever female Turian in a main game, right?
Yeah.
In Veteran Nyx.
Yes, Veteran Nyx. So Veteran Nyx will be your female Turian squad mate. As you say, there haven't been any female Turians in mainline Mass Effect games because the first one was introduced in Mass Effect 3's Omega DLC.
Every time this is pointed out to me, I'm like, that can't be right. And then I think back through every Turian you meet, even like side characters, people in bars, just kind of people standing around, and they all have male voice actors. It is reasonably difficult to tell the difference between the two because they're kind of reptilian and so armored themselves. But yeah, they really just don't play a role up until, like you say, the Mass Effect 3 DLC.
If I remember correctly, Garrus tries to chat her up in a bar in Mass Effect 3 DLC. That's in Citadel. That's in Citadel.
Hang on, he's meant to be with Tali. Right, this is all non-canon as far as I'm concerned. This is nonsense. Okay, so Vetra, what's going on there?
Yeah, so she's run with smugglers, she's run with mercenaries, she's all about the street smarts, and she values, and as a result of that, she values having someone to watch her back. So that's you as Ryder. She's clearly going to be someone who's very, very loyal to you once you've proven that you're worthy of a trust, although maybe she'll take a little while to warm up to you. Definitely sounds like a sensible option to bring with you on away missions when you're dealing with crooks or suspicious people from the underground. And it sounds like she'll be tech focused. She wears heavily upgraded custom armor, which she can activate in the middle of combat for a big boost to her defenses. And her favourite weapon will be a modified assault rifle.
So it sounds like she's, given what they were saying about trying to upend expectations, it sounds like she's actually quite similar to Garrus, certainly from like Mass Effect 2 and
likes tinkering with
things. Yeah, likes tinkering, has a kind of combat focus, but a little bit of a tech side to her. And also, I suppose while he was a police officer and was kind of he wasn't very by the book, right? He was a renegade option in terms of party members and that sort of thing.
He was frustrated with C6 rules and regulations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see again, how they how they differentiate beyond that, or whether they kind of loop around the back, as it were, and end up being quite similar despite having very different origins.
I think you're on the right lines, though. I mean, like, Turian society is portrayed as being very sort of collectivist, very disciplinarian, very, very masculine and very sort of straight-faced. And even though Garrus is sort of breaks from that a little bit and does things his own way, he's still all about enforcing the law, whereas Vetra clearly is coming from a criminal background.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so who is next?
Drak is next, and it's at this point where we start talking about characters that we know a little bit less about.
These guys don't have full profile pages on the website, for example. They haven't been majorly featured in trailers, that sort of thing.
That's right. All we know about Drak so far is that he's a big, scary Krogan with a spacesuit covered in bones.
Okay, I'm into that.
I'm
he's
very
on the team,
into that,
as far as I'm concerned. I mean, nobody will ever replace Rex in my heart, but they can in my brain, in my hope.
That's pretty cool.
No, stop.
All right.
Stop.
We won't discuss that.
Okay, Drak.
He can be seen slapping aliens around in the New Earth trailer, so it seems like he's every bit as badass as a Krogan should be. And other than that, we don't really have too much to go on apart from some speculation. There was a leaked marketing survey which hinted at the nature of his loyalty mission. We know that's going to happen. You have to escort... If that's to be believed, then it might not be.
Yeah, because that could all be old information or
yeah.
something they decided not to do due to the marketing survey,
But according to that, pinch of salt and everything, you will have to escort a ship stolen by traders or stolen by smugglers back to safe haven. So he has some sort of connection with that ship. But if other than that, we don't really know a great deal. If PB and Cora are your biotics, Liam and Vetra both seem likelier candidates to be your techies. So that leaves Drak to be one of your more combat-focused squad mates if there's going to be an even distribution of skills across your squad. But like I say, we don't really know.
So finally, as far as characters that we're pretty sure about, Jarl is in here. So he hasn't actually been officially confirmed as a squad mate. Nobody's been like, yes, this guy is in my party, look, here is a screenshot, or here's his profile on the website.
Yeah, no, it's more or less certain at this point. BioWare have promised that you will get at least one squad mate from the new galaxy, and Jarl is... an Angaran. They are a native species to Andromeda. He was prominent in the New Earth trailer, and Funko, the people who make the pop figurines, had made one based on him as part of their official merchandising tie-in.
Yeah, so like if he's not a squad mate, he's definitely very important to the game.
Yeah, and one of the producers or developers with BioWare has tweeted out a picture of Jarl, so it's he's very clearly a big character.
So from those very brief glimpses, what have we actually seen?
Well, he's pink, he has a cyber monocle, and there's been an image tweeted out of him carrying what looks like a sniper rifle.
Those are three things that I like.
Yeah, they're all noticeable, and you can sort of maybe make some guesses about what he might be like based on that, but it's also been confirmed on Twitter, and predictably one of the first questions that was asked was whether or not a fan could kiss him.
Yeah.
An idea which seems to have gone down well among the fans. There have been multiple articles.
There have been multiple articles regarding how much people want to get in bed with this guy.
I think
we can all understand that.
There's a lot of suggestion that fans are quite pleased with this is his design. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's a romance option, but it's looking pretty likely because the response to that tweet was,
That's our 6 so far. What do we know about other characters that might be coming up?
Well, we know plenty about possible secondary characters. As far as squad mates, that could be it. BioWare have said that your squad will be fewer but more detailed than in previous games. So if we're including DLC, then it's certain we can expect way less than Mass Effect 2's 12 characters.
Like, Mass Effect 2 had too many. Like, I think that's fairly obvious. Like, characters like Zaid and even Kasumi didn't really get fleshed out. They didn't even have conversations of their own outside of their missions.
I don't know if I agree with that. Kasumi was great fun, but... I take your point, and Mass Effect 3 had 7 squad mates if you include Javik,
who also didn't have like as much interaction as the other 6, right?
The DLC characters were definitely a little bit thinner compared to the main ones, which I suppose is understandable. But with just over a month until release, so although a 7th squad mate being added now is not impossible, maybe via DLC again, like with Javik, it's not out of the question, but we wouldn't be surprised if 6 is all we get in your squad.
Yeah, and it would be a little late to add it as a pre-order bonus now. I would have expected, even if they didn't reveal who it was, they would have said, you're going to get another character like you have in the past for pre-ordering, like you did with Zaid and like you did with Javik. So while these 6 might not be all of them, it's definitely all the ones we know about at the moment. Of course, there's also a load more secondary characters that we have a big long list of in the article that's attached to this video and is linked in the description down below. And that's pretty much everything that we have on Mass Effect characters. Please do throw us a like if you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments below who you're looking forward to, who else you think might be a squad mate, and who, you're really excited to romance, as it were. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe for more of the same.